W, its management, or other advertisers. This program is sponsored by Dr. Pat Vasili and Transformation Talk Radio.
She's the pushy broad from the Bronx, New York. Follow her voice, a stray dog is nice. She's a pushy broad from the Bronx, oh yeah. Don't be surprised if you want to listen twice. Make decisions, find the right choice. Know yourself better, find your own voice. It's okay if you need help today, cause everybody needs a little push. From the pushy broad from the Bronx, New York.
Welcome, Transformation Talk Network listeners. My name is Ellen Stewart, and I am the pushy broad from the Bronx. Welcome to my show, Recovery Recharged, where I share advice and support from experts in addiction and recovery. This morning, it is an episode of Straight Talk with the Pushy Broad, giving you valuable information that I know every single one of you has thought about, whether you are the active addict seeking treatment or the parents or loved ones of those people suffering, saying to yourself, how do I help my loved one? What kind of place can I take them to, talk to them about? How do they get the vital help that they need? And more importantly, how do I ask the right questions and choose the right kind of help for either myself or my loved one? So I have the most important questions that people want to know the answers to, and my producer, Jessica, this morning is going to give us some important questions, and I'm going to give you valuable answers. So, Jessica, where do we start?
Yeah, let's start with what should you look for when you're searching for treatment programs?
Well, that first question is, where do I start? Okay, so excuse me, this morning, we look for, first of all, a program that is licensed and accredited. So you go to a website, you can Google treatment centers in my area or treatment centers, excuse me, around the country. And you find on the web something that says licensed and accredited treatment center. You take a look and see under the heading that says About Us and find the therapists, addiction counselors, medical staff, and you take a look and you read all about them on the website. That's the first place you go. And then you get to decide what you want to do from there. All right, so we're going to expand on that a little bit, Jessica. Let's keep going.
For sure. So how do you know if inpatient or outpatient treatment is right?
There we go. So the first way you know that something is right for you is to turn around and finally admit to yourself that you have a problem. Okay, that you have a problem and you can't do this on your own. That's the most important part of this. You can keep thinking, I can handle it. I can drink when I want. I can occasionally have a joint. I can do something in terms of dabbling. I can do this socially. I can be casual. And every single time you are not. Every single time substance misuse gets you into trouble. Every single time. So it first starts with, I have a problem and I don't know how to solve it. But I now understand that I have to go outside to seek help. Once you get there, and once you know that you have to go outside and seek help, believe it or not, the rest is easy. That's the most difficult part. So, how do you do that? You start with anybody. Start with your primary care physician. Start with your clergy. Start with a doctor who will give you what we call an assessment. And that assessment usually comes from a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And that person will tell you what treatment center or what facility may be right for you. There are many different kinds of treatment. There are residential treatment facilities, which means you actually pack up and go away for about a month and you go sit in treatment and you live there and you have group sessions every day and individual sessions once a week, and that's called a residential treatment facility. And there are other ways. There are outpatient where you can live at home and you can go to treatment on a daily basis. So what you need really depends upon what the assessment has to say. And if at any time you don't know where to start, you go to pushybroadfromthebronx.com. You do your first 20-minute consultation free with me, the Pushy Broad, and I will show you exactly where to start. Jessica, next question.
What are some of the critical questions to ask the treatment center directly?
That's really, really a good question. When you call the number on the screen, in any arbitrary treatment center, you can also go to psychologytoday.com and put in treatment centers in your area and see what comes up. Or you can put substance abuse treatment centers in the state of Washington or California or wherever you think you want to go. The number that you will get is usually the admissions number. And some of the big questions that one asks is, does your program individually tailor treatment to my individual needs? Are you a substance abuse treatment center? Are you a mental health treatment center? And how do you treat a combination of mental health and substance misuse? What is your staff to patient ratio? How many patients are with each individual counselor? The national average is 1 to 8. Sometimes treatment centers do 1 to 4 or 1 to 6. Those are great places to get individualized attention. And also, is the family involvement encouraged? Believe it or not, what's going on with you affects your whole family. So you want your family to understand what's happening with you. You want them educated in the field of addiction. And you want a treatment center to be able to educate them and have them participate so that when you come out of treatment, they're on the same page with you. Jessica, next question.
Does the facility offer detox services, and why is that important?
Most of the time when people come to me for help, it's because they're actively using. And when parents or loved one comes to me, it's because the person who they care about the most is constantly getting drunk or constantly getting high. And that's a very difficult situation to watch and also to live through. As a recovering addict and alcoholic myself, I know what I put my family through, and I know what state I have been in. So the Pushy Broad is talking personally here. If you understand that you are in active addiction, then yes, detox services are probably where you need to start. There are many facilities that are only detox facilities. Only. You go in, you get detox safely from alcohol or substance misuse. And that's what a lot of addicts and alcoholics are worried about. Is this going to be painful for me? So if it's alcohol, if it's substances, if it's pills, if it's heroin, if it's the most serious of substance misuse addictions, detox centers will help manage the painful detox with medication and with monitoring, which means you need to go into a facility to do it safely. Never think that you can detox on your own. Not helpful and extremely dangerous. So if you want to start with a detox facility, you can do that. There are many residential treatment centers that have detoxes built in, and that's a question to ask the admissions counselor when you call them. Jessica, what else?
Follow-up question to that. How do you know if you need medication-assisted treatment?
That is a really good question. And I want you to understand that I don't want you to make that determination. You need to have the doctors in the treatment center make that determination. And basically, they're going to talk to you about what you've been doing. And sometimes that's where you get jammed up because you always want to minimize what you've been doing. I need you to be perfectly honest with the medical professionals you are talking to. Number one, they are bound by HIPAA law, so they can't tell anybody, right? They cannot. They're not going to call anybody. They're not going to call the police on you unless you're going to harm yourself or another human being. But other than that, whatever you ingest or whatever you've been doing, they need to know in order to know how to medically treat you. They're, of course, going to take a urine sample. They're going to take a panel so that they know what's in your system. But it really does help when you tell them what you have ingested and what you've been doing on a regular basis. Based on that, they will help you decide if medication is pertinent for your detox and for your continuing well-being. There are so many wonderful drugs out there that will help you, and they are the experts. In fact, my next program on August 27th will be with a doctor, Johns Hopkins doctor, who will talk about medication-assisted treatment. So I hope that you will tune in then. Jessica, next question.
How important is aftercare planning?
So you spent a little time, you went into treatment, you're doing the right thing, you have a little recovery behind your belt. You've got 30 days. The most important thing is not only being in treatment and telling yourself that you had this problem and you're now finally doing something about it, but then you spend some time in the bubble of treatment. The real work, the way you sustain sobriety, is to know that the moment you come out of treatment, your life begins in a whole new way. So maybe part of your aftercare planning is to work with the Pushy Broad in early recovery. By pushybroadfromthebronx.com, I'll take you through the beginnings of recovery and make sure that you don't forget what you've learned in treatment. But aftercare planning in general is essential for you to sustain sobriety. Nobody can sprinkle magic dust. There's no magic pill. There's no magic medication that's going to keep you alcohol and drug free. You have to do that work, and I'm here to help you do it. If you have a question today, please call our producers. It's 800-930-2819. I'd be happy to answer more questions about this topic and help you facilitate that right move, especially now. Especially those of you who are going back to college at the moment. Half of the country is back in school, right? High school is back for half of us. Elementary school is back for half of us. This is the beginning of your new season, and this is why these questions are very, very important. Jessica, what else have you got?
What therapies are typically used in substance abuse treatment?
Everybody gets so nervous because nobody knows what to expect. Right? Nobody really tells you what to expect. So here I am. I'm going to tell you. If you're worried about what's going to happen to me, this is how it goes. I always look at it as you're going to take a course in the education and self-development of you as an individual and learn about what's going on with you finally. So if you look at this, not as I'm going to a rehab and it's going to be horrible, because it never is, but go to it with the feeling of, I'm going to take some time for myself. I'm finally going to do something that's going to help me. And I'm going to talk to doctors and clinicians that know what they're doing. I'm going to work with therapists and explore what makes me think and what my triggers are, and how to replace unhealthy patterns with healthy ones by using something called cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what I do as the Pushy Broad. I teach people how to think differently so that they can feel differently and so that they can act differently. You're going to learn the skills you need to feel better about your life. Therapies like dialectical behavioral therapy, teaching you how to emotionally regulate yourself, how to understand where those feelings are coming from, and not to learn how to escape into mood-altering drugs or to isolate anymore or to be afraid of being who you are, but to emerge as that wonderful human being that I know you want to get to. And then you're going to talk with other people who are just like you so that you realize you're not alone in this disease, that there are people out there going through what you're going through. And there is a supportive group therapy element as well. And most of the time, the rehabilitation places, the residential treatment centers have all kinds of other holistic ways for you to get better. They have exercise, they have meditation, they have yoga, all kinds of things. Some of them have social activities. You can go rafting, you can go canoeing, you can do hiking. You can go horseback riding. There are so many different ways to get out and to be able to really enjoy your life again. Believe it or not, going to treatment is not a punishment. I want you to understand that it is a gift, truly a gift in the next portion of your life and your journey. All it takes is one step of courage to open up that door. Jessica, what else do you have?
How can I involve my family or loved ones in my recovery?
Nobody can do this alone. That's why I do what I do. That's why I have the clients that I have. That's why people come to me, because they understand that this journey is one that needs support and family love. You also want your family to stop looking at you like you're the failure, like you're the one that has a problem and they don't want to have anything to do with you. It's so much easier when your family knows what's going on with you, when you can walk in the light instead of walking in the darkness all the time and hiding who you are from them. In the same token, they need to learn about the disease of addiction, and many family members directly contribute to this disease. They either are codependent around you, or they enable you to stay in the same situation, or they are actively involved in addiction themselves. So involving family members is something that the rehab does, that the treatment center does. They offer family therapy sessions, educational workshops, or you can put your family in touch with the Pushy Broad. You have them go to the Pushy Broad from thebronx.com, make a consultation appointment, and I will begin to educate them on what true recovery means, so that the relationship between you and your family is now better and strengthened every single day. Jessica, what else have you got?
What should I know about payment options and insurance coverage?
That's the first question on everybody's mind, right? How much does rehab cost? What does it cost to go for treatment? Do I do inpatient or outpatient? And how does my insurance affect all of this? And it is a very complex topic for sure. But here are the questions you need to ask. Many facilities do accept private insurance. Some of them accept Medicaid, some of them accept Medicare, but you have to ask, what insurance do you accept? And you have to be prepared to give the rehab your insurance information. They will not use it for any other purpose than to call the insurance company and verify your benefits, just like you do when you have any other situation, when you go to the dentist, or whether you go to the doctor, or whether you have surgery. It's the same thing. You check to see what amount of money your insurance is going to cover. Same deal. No problems there. Give them your insurance card and see whether or not they will cover it. Find a place, preferably, that your insurance will cover, or at least you have out-of-network benefits for. You can also ask if there are payment plans available if your insurance isn't covering it, or you still have out-of-pocket costs. You can also ask if there are scholarships available. If you are not insured or your program is not covered by insurance, there are many facilities that provide sliding scale fees to make your treatment affordable. Keep talking to them. See what you can do. If you have problems navigating insurance, you can go to pushybroadfromthebronx.com and I will show you what your program will or will not afford. We want to make this easy for you. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to cover your treatment, but I want you to be well informed and choose the place that's right for you and not be afraid to ask these questions. Jessica, what else have you got?
Are there specialized programs for certain groups, for example, LGBTQ plus veterans or teens?
That's the wonderful thing about treatment. It's kind of like the Chinese menu of treatment. You can have programs that are gender separate, gender specific. There are tracks for LGBTQ plus. There are tracks that apply to veterans. There are tracks that apply to professionals like doctors and nurses that are going into treatment. There are tracks that apply to adolescents. There are tracks that apply to young adults. So if you're in that young adult bracket, which is usually somewhere between 19 and 25, there are all kinds of specific gender-oriented and outlook age-oriented point of view. There are even geriatric facilities that cater to people between the ages of 55 and above. So yes, you don't have to be in a room with 20-year-olds if you're 55 years old, and you don't have to be in the room with 50-year-olds if you are 20 years old. So you're going to be around people like you so that you feel that there are people that really get you, helping you. And they're going to specialize programs tailored to your specific demographics. So yes, people will accommodate your special needs, your gender, and your age. Jessica, what else have you got?
How long should I expect treatment to last?
Believe it or not, you can go away for 3 days and you can go away for 3 years. You can expect that treatment will last as long as you need treatment to last. And that's not always up to you, which means that once you start treatment, the clinicians are your best determination of how long you're going to be there. But in general, on the outset, here's what you should know. Detox lasts anywhere from 7 to 14 days, depending upon what you have ingested and what you're doing and whether or not there's medication management. 7 to 14 days. Residential treatment, which may include the detox, will range anywhere from 30 to 90 days or more. But initial traditional primary care treatment living in a residential center is anywhere from 30 to 90 days. Outpatient treatment, which means you get up in the morning, you go to work, and then you go to a residential treatment center 3 or 4 times a week, 3 hours a night, can last anywhere from 6 weeks to 16 weeks and even longer. So you are not going to get this immediately. It takes time to build up a habit, and it takes time to find the tools you need to stay clean and sober. This is not a 24/7 situation where you're out in 2 days and you've got this. So it's going to take a little time, but understand it's not the rest of your life. Everything is measurable in the first year of treatment for sure. Okay, we've got time for about 2 more, Jessica.
How do I balance seeking treatment with personal responsibilities like work or family?
The pushy broad from the Bronx will tell you one thing. You can't do anything unless you get the treatment that you need. I need you to put yourself first and say to yourself, everything else will work itself out. The most important thing is I need to be clean and sober. Because if you're not clean and sober and this is screwing with your life, I'm telling you right now, your personal responsibilities like work and family are going down the tubes anyway. You're not balancing work and family. It's not working. So I need you to have a conversation with your family and your employer, and maybe you have to leave under the FMLA, the Family and Medical Leave Act, Okay. Or maybe you have to do things where they work together in helping you do this. But the most important part of this is if you begin to seek treatment, I promise you everything else will get better. And like I said, pushybroadfromthebronx.com, I will be there to help you facilitate. All it takes is the courage to know that you can do this one day at a time. And just to finish up, I want to let you know that going forward, it is never too late and it's never not the right time to go and seek help and seek treatment. The worse, if you don't, I don't want you to suffer the slings and arrows of active addiction. Give it a shot. It's not scary. Trust me, it's not. The Pushy Broad is here for you. Any other questions? Pushybroadfromthebronx.com. I promise I will hold your hand through it. I hope I've helped you today. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next time. This is Ellen Stewart, the Pushy Broad from the Bronx, saying thanks for listening. And remember, everybody needs a little push.
From the Pushy Broad from the Bronx, New York.